Hi, Suki. Thank you so much for joining me in this podcast episode. Really appreciate it. How are you today?
I'm great, Russell. Thank you so much. I'm doing great. I have a book coming out and I'm excited about it. And yeah, all is well.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations on your book launch. And
Thank you.
yeah, like you just mentioned, like you got a new house as well. So congratulations on that as well. So everything's going really on your way, I guess.
I know it's crazy. All of a
Yeah,
sudden, things are, I believe in manifestation and things are just kind of happening.
yeah. And also like you had a retirement quite early as well, and then from like you made some shift on your career choices, like you choose like a different career path where you motivated now, like you're super excited to impact other people's life. So we're going to get to all into today and learn more about your journey. So before
Okay.
I get to like what are you happening currently, I want to know like what happened in the past. So what do you used to do in like before like your retirement, what kind of industry you was part of?
Yes, great. Thanks for asking. I was in technology for banks forever. I started with that. Actually, started programming in high school, which was pretty unusual in the 70s
Mm,
and middle 70s, and ended up getting a job as a programmer right out of school in the early 80s. Stuck with banks. They kind of took me all over the place. I lived in Australia for a couple of years and made a lot of good friends and did a lot of good work and had some fun. And but towards the end, so I had gone from programming to project management, training, that sort of thing.
yeah.
In the end, the project management, which I had always loved because it was problem solving and working with people about, what's the core issue here and how can we resolve it? How can we work together to, come up with a satisfactory, like win-win for everybody?
Yeah.
And towards the end of my tenure as a project manager, it became more of like, uh, check this thing off the box. Did you do this? Did you do this?
Mm,
Did you do this? And that just really wasn't very satisfying for me. So we had an opportunity. We sold a vacation home and it paid off our home where we live in Phoenix. And my husband offered me the opportunity to retire.
right.
And I thought about it for about 10 minutes, not very long.
Yeah.
And I decided, given my frustration with my current, work and that sort of thing, that would be a great option for me. So I was I was super excited about that, but I'd had a very long and full career. I'm
Mm.
63. So I had a long full career doing technology stuff, and retiring was kind of a shock to the system.
Yeah, yeah, that's a long, long time, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, 35 plus years of
Yeah,
yeah,
nearly
technology
four
career.
decades of like
Yes.
industry. So, like after retirement, what actually caught you? Like, I need to make some changes. I need to do something. Like, obviously, a lot of people after retirement they think life is over, like probably holidays and just doing gardening or something like some kind of hobbies. Like, but you chose like a different path. You said
I
like, no, I need
did.
to make some impact on other people. Like, how did you come up with the idea?
Well, yeah, I had for the first year or so, I was doing the traveling and hanging out with the friends and drinking the wine and, going here and there. And I started to feel like my identity, like I didn't really know who I was anymore. And I
Mm,
foresaw decades ahead of me. I'm fairly healthy, have a few small problems that we're watching, but I'm fairly healthy and I could be retired for maybe 30 years, maybe even longer. And so I thought, what am I going to do to build a new identity for myself? I used to laugh with the people that I was, doing technology consulting with. We used to call ourselves international jet setting consultants, and it was a silly term, and we kind of, it was glamorizing a sometimes very unglamorous business, but I still see myself or saw myself as this international jet setting consultant, and now I wasn't solving any problems for people or really myself. Um, I like to be in an environment where I'm appreciated,
yeah.
and whereas my husband appreciates me quite a bit, he wasn't home. He was still working and that sort of thing. So I thought, well, I'm gonna find something else to do to keep me occupied, keep my brain occupied,
Mm.
to have some success at it. I like having success. And I was with a multi-level marketing company, which is what else do they call it? Network marketing.
Yeah.
And so I was selling things, that I loved. They were fun and my friends loved them. But after a while, I kind of exhausted the wallets of my friends, and and I wasn't progressing in that endeavor. And so I started networking, and I just picked a random networking group off of meetup.com.
Okay.
And I said, well, I'm going to go to Scottsdale, Arizona. I live in Phoenix. I'm going to go to Scottsdale. They have money, it's nice. I'll go to lunch, and meet some people and maybe make some sales. And so I went to that, and I found super, really heart-centered people who were all about making relationships. It was a group
Mhm.
called Seven Networking. And I still participate. And it's all about making relationships first, and then business will follow. And
Yeah.
so I had lots and lots of one-on-ones with people to get to know them better, so that we would establish a relationship. And I loved that. I was missing like relationship with people as well. When you're out doing things or running errands, you're
Yeah.
not really making relationships with those
Yeah.
folks. So I really enjoyed that. And then one of the women who was a member of Seven Networking with me, Kenyatta Turner, was advertising a mastermind, like a business mastermind, like take your business to the next level by working on your mindset.
Mm.
And I wasn't exactly sure what that meant, but I did know that I wanted to get to the next level. So I signed up with her, and that decision changed the course of my post-retirement life, because I started thinking about why I was doing these things. And we were studying a book. One of the books we were studying was called High Performance Habits. And
Yeah.
sorry, not High Performance Habits, says Brendan Burchard. Um, it was the 12-week year. And one of the concepts in there is that you measure your results.
Yeah.
So you plan your week, and you just measure whether or not you did the things you committed to doing. And the things that I needed to do to really advance my multi-level marketing business were to make sales, hold parties, and to ask people to join my team. And as I was measuring that every single week, there were like 6 things on my list that I did
Yeah.
weekly, and I was doing 1 out of 6. And it was like, well, no wonder
Yeah. You're not getting the results.
not getting the results, because I wasn't doing the things I needed
Activity.
to do
Yeah.
to get the results. And um, I realized, well, I had an exercise with my coach, and we talked about, what was unique about me, and what she was also, and now I am as well, an accredited behavioral superpowers coach, which
Mhm.
is a behavioral assessment, kind of like Myers-Briggs, but different. It's not that. But um, so we looked at my profile, which is I am a take charge, spontaneous, fast-paced influencer. And I don't mean an influencer like an Instagram influencer, but
Yeah.
influencing is what I do naturally. So she, well, we'll take that, we'll talk about what's unique about you, and then we'll really dig deep into why you're doing this. Like, do you still need to work? And I said, no, I don't need to work for the money. My husband and I can be comfortable without it, but I need to work for my identity, like I was talking about before, because I do things. I mean, I make stuff happen. That's just what I do, what I've always done. And anyway, so we got right down to it and said, because you're this influencer type, selling widgets may not be your deal.
Yeah.
And that really felt right. And she said, what do you really want to do? And I said, well, I want to do what you do. I want to I want to help people realize there's more, that they can do more, but they can be more. you
Mm.
know, um, in their lives, and especially people at my age, retirement age, per society, there is more. And if you want to reclaim your dreams, or you want to build something, a legacy, or even just have more joy in your life and better relationships, you can do it on purpose.
Yeah.
You can decide to do it, and you can pursue it and get and make it happen. So that's a very long answer to your question, Russell.
Yeah, but it's just a story, isn't it? Like that's process you had to go through. Like it didn't happen overnight. Like one day you woke up and you realize this is something I need to do, but you have to go through the process. You've seen and you experienced it, then you realize, no, I need to do something what is appropriate for me, and I love and enjoy doing every single day. Not like what's supposed to be us doing. So it's just like a self-consciousness and also like a self-awareness. Like you need to know
Mhm.
like what do you want to be and what gift I have from a God or like a world or whatever you believe in. So yeah, that's a great shift you made. So for moving forward, after you choosing the career, how are you finding it right now helping other people?
I love it. And that, even since I decided that was 3 years
Yeah.
ago, and it's, I'm not a patient woman. And it's been lessons, constant lessons in patience, and it takes the time that it takes
Yeah.
to be, to get ready not to get ready. I mean, I think we all have inside us what it takes to be successful in whatever we choose.
Mm,
But sometimes there are things that get in our way, limiting beliefs, stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves that aren't true. Like, um, nobody's going to want to, like, I just finished a book, and, the whole time I was writing is like, no one's going to read this. No one's going to want to pay to buy my book. My story is average at best. Those kinds of things. So it's taken a while it's taken a while for me to have the inner understanding that I have what it takes to help other people. And in fact, I've always done it.
yeah.
I've talking with my friends growing up. My I have amazing friendships, and we consult together about life and its challenges and that sort of thing. So the fact the fact that I'm able to help women, especially my age, realize there's still so much more. There's so much more to get excited about. It's changed my whole way of being. So
Mm,
I hated getting out of bed. I hated going to work. I would stay up really late. I'd watch TV, do stuff that just would make no sense, that didn't have any purpose.
yeah.
And now, I like this morning, I got up at 5. My friends are looking at me like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
So I'm so excited about the opportunity to help other women realize that they can add this kind of excitement in their later years, when society kind of expects us to slow down. There's no need to slow down if you don't want to slow down. If you've got big goals and things you want to build, or even small goals, go do it.
Yeah, definitely. Totally agree with you. So what would you give someone advice like if someone is like coming to a retirement plan and like going to that kind of age and they don't know what they want to do? Probably they achieve everything financially like yourself, they're probably comfortable with the living they have, but they need to find their why to live for another next 20 years, 30 years, wherever that number is. And yeah, finding the why to wake up 5 in the morning. Like you found your why to wake up at 5 in the morning. Like you didn't find it before, and like you
I've
said,
never had that
yeah,
why,
yeah.
ever.
So how can someone like finding their why and get motivated, like not going to like in depression, like I'm going to be retired next 5 years, 10 years time. They can be looking forward to like when I get retired, this is something I want to do. I want to inspire people.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's great to start early. It's great to start before you retire,
Mm,
and finding the why is critical. And I highly recommend getting coaching,
okay.
taking personal development seminars, finding a good coach who will push you beyond your comfort zone, because our brains like to keep us safe, which
Yeah.
means they love the status quo. And sometimes it takes someone seeing you from the outside and questioning the decisions that you're making, and not like you're doing it wrong, but let's really figure out why you made that decision or why you think that about yourself in your life.
Yeah.
And we don't often push ourselves to do that. Um, so I really advise getting some help, getting real clarity, working on what you're really good at, what lights you up, and then being very, very clear about what it is you want to create and your motivations for doing it.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Mm.
Because I found my why very early age, so I don't want to retire from it. And
Yes,
not many
right.
people got that gift, and they probably busy with their living and everything, maintaining the responsibilities that have come up with it. And a lot of people don't manage to do that. And a lot of people come into like a retirement age, and they get depressed. They don't know what's the next step gonna look like. Financially, probably they're all right, but not mentally. And finding something like what you're actually doing is really, really great. And that's why I wanted to interview you. Like you can be an inspiration for other upcoming, like who's getting into like a retirement age or like thinking of
Yeah.
retirement. So let's move to like what book you have written. What's the book
Oh
about?
my
What's the
goodness.
title?
Yeah, so it's interesting when I first started, I decided to become a life coach. I now call myself a women's empowerment coach.
Right.
Um, but when I decided to do that, um, one of the exercises I did with my mentor Kenyatta was write down a list of things that are unique about me. And one of the words I wrote down was courage.
Mm,
I was given a gift when I was 25 or 23. I was engaged to be married, and I broke that engagement for a variety of reasons. And one of my girlfriends told me that was a really brave thing to do because it was breaking societal expectations.
yeah.
When I was growing up, it was the expectation was I'd go to school, I'd get married, I'd, raise a family, have a career, perhaps, maybe not. And so, chopping off that foot, if you will, at an early age was, she told me it was a brave thing to do. And I started thinking, it really was,
Right.
breaking with expectations and that sort of thing. And it brought up a lot of fear too. It's like, well, what now? Like, what am I going to do now? Because I screwed this up. But I somehow assimilated being brave or having courage into who I believed that I was. And so I've done a lot of outwardly courageous things um, throughout my life. Moved to Australia by myself when I was 30, and I became a traveling consultant, going every 6 months to a year. I'd go to a different city where I knew nobody and a problem that I didn't know until I got there, and,
Mm,
all that kind of stuff. And I managed to figure it out. So I called my business when I first started, I called it Courage Rises.
okay.
And I just wrote a book. This year, I've been part of a number of anthologies where other people are also writing. This is my first solo book. And so it's called Courage Rises. And the subtitle is Creating the Life You Want by Leaning into Fear. So it's somewhat of a memoir of the number of courageous things that I've done,
Yeah.
through my life, but it also has lessons on how to lean into your fear, how to create a different relationship with your fear. So there's the kind of memoir stuff in the first few chapters, and then there's let's work on this, and a few simple exercises in there too. So it's I and my limiting beliefs worked on me the entire time that I was writing the book, and mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And up until the day before I finished it, I thought, oh, this is junk, I'm not going to finish it. um and then the next day, surprisingly, I finished it, and I'm like, oh, that really wasn't so bad. And I went back and read it. I'm like, okay, it kind of flows. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. And I think at least a few people will learn from it. Um, they'll either learn from it, or they'll recognize themselves, which is what I love is people who don't think they're courageous or brave. They read a story and they're like, well, my story is kind of like that. I guess
Mhm.
I'm brave too. That's for me, it was a very good thing for my confidence and my self-esteem. So anyway, the book's done. It's going to be published on October 26th. And I'm having a book launch party on that day. I'm hoping to become a bestseller in my category. One of those categories is fears and phobias because it's about fear and courage.
Yeah,
And so the ebook will be available on the 26th, and then the paperback will be available after that. You'll be able to pre-order it on Amazon.
that's great. Congratulations. So many
Thank
good things
you.
happening to you.
Yes.
Okay, great. So yeah, coming to so Suki, we're coming to end of this podcast. It's been a great conversation with you. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, learn more about your work, where's the best place to find you?
Oh gosh. Yeah, my website is in the process of being updated, but it is couragerises.life, Life. And there's an opportunity on there to join my mailing list. So you'll get blogs and that sort of thing and the occasional offer. And you'll get my email address and all of that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So I wish you best of luck with your new book, also your
Thank
career.
you.
I know you have a new career right now, and your personal life also. You go move into a new house and enjoy a new year as well.
Yes, and we have new grandchildren. Our son, who's our
Okay.
youngest, just had identical twin boys. So
Oh,
life is so full right now.
yeah,
It's very exciting. I have so much to get excited about and pop out of bed at 5 a.m. for. And
definitely,
Russell, thank
definitely.
you so much for having me on your podcast. This has been really delightful. You're so easy to talk to.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So yeah, that's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed it. So those who's listening, if anyone interested to work with Suki, go check out her website or reach out to her on a social media platform as well. And until then, I'll talk to you in our next episode. Take care, everyone.